Good morning and welcome to another episode of Josh and Pat. I'm Joshua Klein, joined by Patrick Cassett. And are the Tennessee Titans trying to get a fourth quarterback? Tanking for Caleb Williams seems like the only logical explanation of what they're doing right now, leaving Ryan Tannehill in instead of starting Malik Willis. At some point, why are you drafting quarterbacks if you're not going to play them? Patrick, why haven't the Tennessee Titans moved on from Ryan Tannehill and given Malik Willis a shot?
You know, it's really sad to see because we know Malik has that talent. He's a dual threat guy. He didn't get his chance last year because you brought in playoff adjacent Joshua Dobbs. But now he's here. He's got a full NFL offseason under his belt, and he's ready to prove to the world that he can do it. Because, Josh, I'll tell you what, Malik Willis can get you more than 104 yards. Malik Willis can get you a QBR rating better than 23.7. Malik Willis can get sacked less than 5 times.
He's mobile. He's not going to get sacked.
The Titans offense needs a surge, Josh. So let's bring in Malik Willis.
I 100% agree, Patrick. It seems like it's overdue, right? And again, like, you know, we've talked about it on this show before, but now it feels like the issue's more pressing than ever because the Titans are 1-2. They lost to a Browns team that lost their starting star running back the week prior and lost to a very not super good Steelers team. And so the Titans, they lose, they go 1-2. And now it just feels like with all the quarterback depth on the roster, they should, give Malik a shot. That's what this show's been advocating. And let him sling it.
For a long time.
That's what he does. With his speed and DeAndre Hopkins' speed, game over. Game over. And what's the situation with Will Levis right now? Is he healthy? Is he on the practice squad? Is he working right now?
Well, Josh, I think physically he might be healthy, but he's dealing with a breakup, and so the guys in the locker room, they're trying to help him out. It's a support because when you lose a relationship when the girlfriend became more popular than you, it's a tough situation for Will Levis.
Now, did she break up with him? We still don't know, do we?
We haven't gotten
we haven't got confirmed. And it could, there's a chance she tried to go for maybe a starting quarterback in the league, or maybe at least even a backup. It is tough because he is going through the breakup. But we do think he's potentially physically healthy right now as the third string.
I think physically Will Levis is healthy. But Josh, I think Malik needs to start next week for the Titans. There's no excuse when you go in, it's week 4, you got to play the Bengals. You got 2 teams that are struggling on offense right now. Bring in Malik because here's 2 things. He's a dual threat QB, and he went to Liberty University, so God's on his side. He's just like Dabo Swinney. Yeah. And so how can you not put this guy in to the game?
I don't know, Patrick. We'll figure it out. Hopefully they'll figure it out because this feels like the Titans are kind of going through a Jets situation where their head coaches say we're riding with our quarterback, but in this scenario, the Titans Hall of Fame quarterback didn't get hurt, and so again we don't know what to make of it. But we're hoping that Malik gets to start for all Titans fans because we don't want to see them go through that. We don't want to see them continue to have to put up with. We love Ryan Tannehill, but it's not getting the job done right now. Maybe a change of scenery is what he needs. Speaking of change of scenery, Patrick, the Saints went through one this past weekend after bringing in Derek Carr to come lead the operations following Andy Dalton. Derek Carr unfortunately goes down. But fortunately for the Saints, they had a 30-for-30 caliber quarterback, Jameis Winston, on the bench. And he comes in. They don't even miss a beat, Patrick. And all of a sudden, the question is can Jameis Winston take this team and go on an all-time run here? And he's finally getting the opportunity that he's been wanting, he's been deserving for a long time.
Well, because he hasn't gotten a full starting opportunity since he's gotten his LASIK surgery, Josh. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, he truly sees the world in a brand new way. So now you bring him in, and I know people are going to say, Josh and Pat, look, they blew a 18-point fourth quarter lead. Like, where was Jameis Winston to help get some points there?
Yeah.
No. You don't understand. If you would have given the keys to the offense to Jameis Winston, this isn't even a discussion.
Yeah.
They don't blow that lead. They didn't fully give him the keys yesterday because he didn't start.
And he wasn't taking first
But now he's going to be starting, Josh.
He wasn't taking first strings reps at practice too. And
Thank you.
So you're right. There's a lot of things that went into that. But I'm excited. I've been on the Justice for Jameis train a long time, and it's finally good to see that he's getting that opportunity. Sad that it's at the expense of Derek Carr. It is. But that's how the NFL works, and I believe that if the defense can figure things out, Jameis Winston, he's gonna do something. We know for a fact
he will do something.
He's gonna do something. What that looks like, we're not 100% sure, but we know for a fact Jameis Winston is gonna come out there and he's gonna do something.
Well, and you got to think, Josh. Even if you put Jameis Winston out there, he's got some of the best weapons of his career.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got Chris Olave, which Colin Cowherd had ranked in the top 10 with Derek Carr.
Yep.
Wait until the ranking with Jameis Winston comes out. And then you got a guy, Taysom Hill. You pay him for a reason. You bring him in, 4 carries, 12 yards. That's 3 yards per rush, Josh. You do that every down, it's a first down.
Yeah. And that doesn't, those weapons are elite, unlike, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, who he had to put up with in Tampa Bay. So
yeah, which was unfortunate for him.
With the elite
it was a bad
weapons,
situation.
and the better situation, you have to imagine Jameis Winston is going to ball out. Speaking of balling out, Patrick, there's a team that did not this weekend, and everyone was telling me, literally telling me, I have receipts. This is the greatest Cowboys team ever. They're telling me that everything I thought about the Cowboys was wrong. And I said, listen, I've seen this before. I've seen the Cowboys do really well to open it up. And then at some point, the wheels fall off and things go wrong. Little did I anticipate it was going to be week 3. But and then again, if you look back, it kind of makes sense because they were going against a Cardinals team with Joshua Dobbs at the quarterback. And do you know what Dak Prescott, he said, hey, you guys all had this expectation in the media. They were preying on our downfall, but we knew who we were. And he basically said, we knew we were a team that potentially was going to lose to the Cardinals.
That's Dak's words.
Not mine. Dak says,
it's Dak.
We knew who we were. We knew that potentially we could lose to the Cardinals, and we probably would lose to the Cardinals. He didn't say that part, but we can assume, we can read between the lines of what he was saying.
He knew that, Josh, and I'm happy for Dak in this way. He's got the interception out of the way, so he doesn't have to worry about that for the rest of the season. He's only 29 away from throwing 30 interceptions, so we'll have to keep that watch out for sure.
30 for 30 watch.
On the other hand, Josh, playoff adjacent quarterback Joshua Dobbs, you've said it before. He is too good for the Cardinals to get Caleb Williams.
I said it. I've said it once. I'll say it again. Joshua Dobbs is too good. And I was on somehow last night, after the live, went in my bed, scrolling through TikTok. I got on Joshua Dobbs talk somehow.
Really?
And I was just watching Joshua Dobbs pack his bags and move to Arizona, get his first meal there. And I was like, you know what? I like this guy.
Stand-up
I'm
guy.
a Joshua Dobbs fan. And he was just excited. On the plane ride, he was watching the Browns preseason game, just saying, hey, look, it's my old team. Isn't that cool? And he's just loving life. And he's going from one place to the next. And I think he has a chance to take the Cardinals here and do definitely better than people thought they were going to be, at least. And people,
that's the base level.
People thought they were going to be in the all-time losing game. There was a I believe the Cardinals play the Broncos coming up, and people were saying that was going to be the biggest Caleb Williams Bowl of all time. Turns out they're wrong. So, what did you see from the Cowboys though? Why did they all of a sudden go from a team that beat the Giants by 40 points, and then the next week they also destroyed their team, the Jets, and then week 3, now they're losing to the Cardinals, Patrick?
Yeah, and it's because they're not getting the ball to Peyton Hendershot enough. And when you only give Peyton Hendershot, he only gets 1 reception for 3 yards. And it's like, what are we doing as a Cowboys offense?
Yeah.
Like, when you know you're struggling with the weapons you have on the Cowboys offense, when you're struggling, you got to turn to Hendershot because you only give him 1 target. What are we doing? I mean, that's a Mike McCarthy and Dak Prescott failure to read the room.
Hendershot, give him more touches. Is that what that's what we're saying basically was the issue? Okay.
Oh, 100%.
Okay. Well,
you can't give him 1 touch for 3 yards.
Well, then give him more touches, I guess, is what. And if you're Cowboys fans, I guess you have to be optimistic and excited that if they give him more touches, probably they maybe win that game. So they have an actionable step to get better from week 3 to week 4. So cool for the Cowboys. Patrick, there's a team that lost this weekend that is now 0-3, but has an MVP caliber quarterback who should be and is, in my brain, in the MVP hunt, and that's Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins on the season, 66 completion percentage. He has 69% completion percentage, almost 70, 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 108 passer rating. Kirk Cousins, despite being 0-3, is in the MVP conversation.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Josh, is they always talk about best player on the best team. They're always in the MVP conversation. How about a guy that is the best player in the league, but his franchise is holding him back? And that's the discussion we have to have about Kirk Cousins, because we forget, Josh, this is a contract year for Kirk. We got to let Kirk cook.
Yep.
And the Vikings simply aren't doing that. 367 yards, 50 pass attempts. That's not enough to let Kirk cook.
No, I 100% agree with you, Patrick. You say best player on the best team is usually the MVP. What about the standout, clear and obvious greatest player on the worst team? That's what we're looking at here with Kirk Cousins. And you're right, put Kirk Cousins, in as a top 5 quarterback in this league right now, and they shouldn't be 0-3, but even if they're 0-3, it doesn't matter. Kirk's right there. They got a lot to figure out though, the Vikings, because I genuinely did think that this was the week that they're going to get it done. But turns out Justin Herbert says, we're not going to go 0-3. Because I am like the second highest paid quarterback in this league. Probably shouldn't go 0-3. He doesn't. That's a massive relief. And Brandon Staley is, he is massively relieved, because there was conversations that they start 0-3. He's literally not making it to week 4. They get the win. He tried to turn it around, and all it took was Keenan Allen potentially doing literally everything.
Yeah, well, and Brandon Staley, he tried his best to lose that game yesterday, going for it in his own territory in the fourth quarter. He tried his best.
Stats told him
he couldn't get it done. So, yeah, and that's unfortunate for him. But, I just want to say, imagine if we, reverse some roles here, Josh.
Yeah.
If Kirk Cousins on the Kansas City Chiefs, he's an MVP favorite right now. And so not enough people are talking about that.
No.
And I know that you can look at the stats and you can say, Justin Herbert, he had 405 yards, 40 for 47. Well, you know what I'm telling you? He was due for that performance, because if you're the second highest paid guy, you got to have that performance every once in a while. And it still almost wasn't enough to get it done if it wasn't for Keenan Allen. So that's why he's not in the MVP conversation.
Yeah. No, 100%. You're right. Broncos get crushed, and in historic fashion, just about. So Mike McDaniels up 70 points, has the opportunity to kick a field goal, get the all-time record for most points scored in a game. He says, no, we're just going to knee it, and we're going to have this opportunity again to put up this type of numbers, is what Mike McDaniels is pretty much saying. And I don't know if he thinks that he'll have the opportunity to get the record, because in this scenario, their defense also let up 70 points, and that extra field goal is going to be for the win, and so he can justify it.
Right.
I don't know what's going on in the thought process, but it has to be pretty satisfying to go from ball boy of that team to literally beating them so bad that people are thinking that a Hall of Fame coach is potentially not even going to make the Hall of Fame anymore.
Yeah. You got to sit here and you wonder, when you get beat by 50 points, why do you even show up to play the next week? And the reason why you do it, Josh, is because you get to play the Chicago Bears. It's a great bounce back opportunity for the Denver Broncos.
Yep.
They'll be back next week. We're going to let Russell Wilson, do his thing, because we know Russell Wilson weeks 1 through 5, he puts on MVP performances.
Yeah.
And we just haven't seen that this year. And you know what? Maybe it's because of maybe the weather hasn't changed in Denver, soon enough. And there's just some weird things going on there. Maybe it's because Deion Sanders is in Colorado now, and there's just a little bit of an overshine to Russell Wilson. But I'll tell you what, you give him enough weeks, he'll right the ship.
Well, this could be also a reverse Russell Wilson situation where historically weeks 1 through 5 is when you get your best Russell Wilson ball. What if this year weeks 1 through 5 is his worst of the year, and then weeks 6 through 18 we're getting primetime Russell Wilson for the entire year? I mean, that's a situation that Broncos fans, they want to see.
Statistically, that's a much larger part of the season. So I think you would sign up most of the Broncos fans for that.
Yeah, he might get an MVP vote, and that's what we hope. And by the way, we will be giving our weeks 1 through 5 MVP following week 5, and so the watch is still on.
Yes,
we will see
in honor of Russell Wilson.
In honor, it's actually named after him. The
Yeah,
Russell Wilson
it's
week
the Russell
1 through 5 MVP award.
5 MVP.
So Broncos getting crushed. That was not, losing by 50 definitely was not on my bingo card, but it was cool to see the Dolphins in full stride. Frank the Tank was very happy. He gets the bump after giving a great Picks and Pancakes pick, which this week we didn't do so good. So we might need to outsource.
Back to its usual losing ways. Yeah.
We'll figure it out. Okay, now on to this segment. Worst plays of the week presented by picksandpancakes.shop. If you guys have not gone to picksandpancakes.shop yet, make sure you go there. It's where you can get some great merch. The hoodie that I'm wearing. Patrick, are you wearing? What are you wearing right now?
Atlanta Dream.
Oh, I can't see I only see the white. So I just didn't know if you were wearing the merch today. Okay, definitely the hoodies, shirts, support the show. It's a great place to go. picksandpancakes.shop. Okay. Worst play, number 3. Here we go. Last night's Sunday night game. It's Raiders versus Steelers. And Devontae Adams gets a big catch there. And we just have an emote situation from the Steelers defender. Gets the catch. A little bit delayed there, Patrick. What did you see here?
Yeah, I saw Patrick Peterson. He's a veteran. They say that once you become a veteran in the league, sometimes your reflexes aren't as good, and it certainly looked like that. But he got his redemption later in the game.
Awesome. Play number 2, top 3 plays of the week. We have a Deshaun Watson play versus the Tennessee Titans. Maybe this doesn't happen if Malik's in the game, but he looks like he's trying to complete a backwards pass there. What did you see here? What do you think Deshaun is seeing here to make this throw, Patrick?
I'm seeing a guy that gets paid a fully guaranteed contract that's willing to do anything to try to help his team win. That's what I'm seeing on the football field, Josh.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good to know. As he's getting tackled here, he's throwing that ball.
Mm-hmm.
So like he is fully sideways as he's throwing this ball. And props to Browns running back number 8, who replaced Nick Chubb, for going to get that ball, picking it up, and trying to get back a couple of yards here. Doesn't get back a couple of yards, but they definitely tried.
Tried.
And then here we are, worst play of the week, presented by picksandpancakes.shop. It's the Packers versus the Saints. Jordan Love pitches the ball back, and then the ball kind of tries to get back to him. He does a full split, and then just airmails the ball about 15 yards over the intended target. Patrick, break down exactly what you saw here, and where did the play go wrong?
I mean, play went wrong on 4th and 2 because if I was the Green Bay Packers, I simply would have picked up the first down before 4th down. And so that's where the play went wrong. It then went wrong again when Jordan Love, he slips. And you got to think they don't try this if Jameis Winston's the quarterback because they know we can't give the ball back potentially in midfield. So,
yeah.
Hey,
is that?
I mean, they try their best there.
And is this a grass field, Patrick?
Well, it's a blend actually. It's an artificial turf / real grass field.
So they have both on here?
Yes.
How does that even work?
I don't know. I don't know the logistics of it. I just know that it's the only type of field in the NFL.
Interesting. Well, he's slipping. He's slipping for sure here. And he does almost a full split. Look at the athleticism there. I don't think Rodgers would have done that.
That's really impressive. No.
Impressive. Cool. Well, that's the worst play of the week presented by picksandpancakes.shop. Last night, Patrick, Sunday night game, we saw a play from it. It was the Devontae Adams catch over the Steelers. As it's a bad play on the Steelers, but if we're looking about the whole game, there's much more bad plays on the Raiders, is what it felt like. And one of them came from the coach, Josh McDaniels. Now, the conversation around Josh McDaniels was that they couldn't fire him because they didn't have enough money. Now, I'm not saying they wanted to fire him, but that they couldn't.
It wasn't an option.
So last night, they start making a comeback, and they drive down the field, and they get to a position where it's 4th down, and they decide to kick a field goal. Now, the interesting thing about deciding to kick the field goal was that even if they got the field goal, they still needed a touchdown to win. So, but instead, they just say, no, we're going to actually try to drive down the whole field again and get the touchdown next time around. Because, instead of having 2 opportunities to get a touchdown, we're actually going to just take the field goal and then give us 1 opportunity to potentially go get the touchdown, which I thought was an interesting move. How do you think that Josh McDaniels justified it, Patrick? And am I seeing it from the wrong perspective?
Yeah, maybe from the wrong perspective, Josh, because you got to think your fellow Josh is just thinking, hey, let's cut the lead in half. Even though it's not in half, but let's cut it down. Let's trim the lead down. And, he trusts his defense to get the ball back. Clearly, his trust was a failure.
And was he thinking potentially about all the people who maybe took some sort of alternate spread during the game, like maybe those live bets when the Raiders were down much more and that spread was probably a lot bigger? I don't know if he was just thinking, hey, points is points, But
might have been.
It felt like they probably should have got the touchdown. They do not. They lose that game. And now the Raiders they're the laughingstock of the league is what they are. And Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't deserve that. Devontae Adams does not deserve that. He just wanted to play football with his best friend. And
he didn't get it.
And his best friend is hurt. And his ex-best friend also hurt. So
it's hurt.
It's a really tough time to be Devontae Adams, but he got the ball a lot yesterday. 2 touchdowns and about a bazillion fantasy points for me. So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Patrick, this next segment is one that I don't want to do, but we have to as journalists and as honest reporters. But play the music. Yesterday, the Ravens lost to a Colts team that didn't have their starting quarterback. They lost to a team that went and abandoned Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And although their first drive, they looked like they would potentially be completely unstoppable, what then followed that drive was horrendous on all 3 phases, and coaching and commentating. And I don't even know how the Ravens messed up the commentating, but they did. And everything was working against the Ravens. Even the refs were horrendous. The no pass interference call at the end. The no face mask call on Lamar Jackson. It was single-handedly the worst football game I've ever seen with my 2 eyes. Lamar Jackson fumbling the ball. The center just snapping the ball when literally no one else thought the ball was going to be snapped. We had receivers that weren't catching the ball. Running backs fumbling it. Special teams players having no awareness of what the clock is. We had the greatest kicker of all time miss a kick from 61 yards when the commentators were telling me that he was good from 70. Everything went wrong. I'm not happy. Ravens fans shouldn't be happy. And the injuries might be catching up to us finally. It's a bad day to be a Ravens fan on this not victory Monday. Patrick, and your response to this thing has been the worst of all. Patrick is like, it's only September.
It's only September.
Orioles won yesterday.
Yeah.
Patrick, every game matters.
No, it doesn't. Because, Josh, it doesn't matter. It's September. If you have a win in the first 3 weeks, you're going to be fine. It's how you play down the stretch. When you're out 9 of 22 starters, what did you think was going to happen? Okay? There shouldn't be any stress out of Ravens fans. This is why the Ravens fans have a toxic culture. It's because they overreact. They want Lamar gone, and then the next second they think Lamar should be MVP. And you're one of those guys, Josh, and you know it.
No. Patrick, the issue with the injuries is, and it's the same thing we said about the Bengals and Joe Burrow, people don't get healthier throughout the year. They get worse. So we can't use injuries as an excuse, Patrick. We have to win despite that.
I didn't use an excuse.
We couldn't do it, so whatever.
I said, what did you expect to happen?
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I'm saying we should expect this probably a lot more throughout the season because it's not going to get better.
Josh, it's September, man. I mean, do you know how many times the Chiefs and the Patriots all won Super Bowls and they were like below 500 or 500 in September?
Okay, that's great, Patrick. That's great.
There just shouldn't be stress.
I'm just saying.
By the way,
not a good
the Orioles
loss.
magic number is
3. I'm
three.
not stressed, Patrick.
The Orioles magic number is 3. You should care more about that, Josh.
It's not a good loss. Okay, that's that for that segment. Last segment, Taylor Swift was with Travis Kelce. We all knew it.
Yep.
Okay, nobody didn't know
We knew it.
Everyone
we reported
knew
it. We reported it on the show.
We reported it probably before every other network was comfortable enough to report it because they thought it was just hearsay.
So they should be like it should be as first reported by Picks and Pancakes, and I'm not seeing that.
I'm not seeing that anywhere. So good for Travis Kelce catching the touchdown. I mean, the Bears got embarrassed, so it's a great first game to go to if you're Taylor Swift. And she did kind of betray her Eagles pretty quickly.
Yeah. Well, who doesn't want to jump off of the Philly bandwagon? So.
Yeah. Oh, if you had a way out, I'm sure a lot of those Eagles fans will take it.
Yeah. So good for her.
Cool. Well, that's the show. Make sure you guys go to picksandpancakes.com to read everything happening in sports And also go DM us at Picks and Pancakes to get a free mug and $10 McDonald's gift card. We're going to be live tonight on TikTok sometime between the first game and the second game overlap. And yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you there, guys. Thank you for supporting the show. Go to picksandpancakes.shop to buy all of our merch. And we'll see you guys on Friday for another episode of Josh and Pat. A peace.